What's up, guys? How are you guys doing today? Yet again, hope you guys are all doing splendid. Beautiful Tuesday night. It's like, I don't know. It's like 5 o'clock right now. I just got off work, and we have more work to do. So as you guys saw in my other video, the white Duramax that we were doing this turbo on was out of the way. Let me mind you, it was put together and moved. There's a whole backstory I'm not going to go into, really, but we had some things to work out, but basically, here we are, yet again. Last one, a brand new 65mm with Batmobile Danville Stage 2R turbo, and we are going to install this, get it all set in the truck. I'm gonna go over as much in depth as possible on this one. We got a little spot right here. Anywho, I'm gonna go over this as in depth as possible and show you how to do most everything, so that way you guys really know the true installation, every step, everything along the way, so that way you don't run into any issues that I may have made along the way. So to start off, we need to move all the oil lines, coolant lines, and vane position sensors and get them all installed on this turbo. So that is what we will do first. First things first, we're going to start by installing the vane position sensor. New from Danville, a new sensor. It's got an O-ring on it, so we're going to install this in the turbo. That way we don't have to fuss with it in the truck because it gets a little tight in there. So we're going to install it first and keep it out of the way. I believe it's a 1-inch or something socket. We're going to snug it down. I mean wrench. Wrench, you can't really put a socket on it. Let's see what we got here for a torque. Oops, my book. Alright, it does not have a torque, so we will snug it up and make sure everything's good to go on it. You don't need to go super crazy tight, but we will get it tight enough so that way there's no issues with it. So it stops pretty quick once you get that O-ring compressed. And just snug it up, nothing crazy. It's not going nowhere. So we're ready to swap.
Yeah, I was hoping to get this done while there's still daylight so we could see
It will.
anything we miss.
Alright, so now we just need to swap over the coolant lines, which is a 17mm bolt. And they got banjo, they're like banjo bolts, and they have banjo washers, so you want to make sure that you don't lose any of them.
Did it come with new washers?
No. These ones are fine.
They've only been on and off like 4 times.
Yeah. It'll rough. Oh, I gotta take this little bolt out. Anyways, unbolt them from the side, take the nut off the front on this one, swap them over, install the nut, good to go. After that, we will be ready to drop this in the truck. I already set the oil return line gasket down on there. So after that, we'll get it set in the truck, replacing the 2 rubber coolant lines, and then we're good to go. you want to make sure that your oil return line is lined up on your two studs for the oil drain.
And the gaskets.
Yep. So we replaced this this coolant line right down here. It's at 90 degree right here. Do you want to grab that part number? It's stuck in the box right there on the ground. So from O'Reilly's, it's a 18462 coolant line, or heater core line, and it's a perfect 90. You just got to trim up the length of it a little bit. Block the light a little bit. That way we replaced that, we replaced this line. So that way everything was new for 12 bucks, safest route to go. But the turbo is set in there, so we're gonna start loosely tightening all the bolts up and everything, and we'll get back with you. So now that we have everything set in here, we put on the coolant lines, which I told you we replaced and got 2 hose clamps for, the 90 and then the straight one. We set in all the bolts. And I used a, where is it here? Where's that magnet? I threw it on the ground. Anywho, I used a magnet and stuck the head of the bolt on it and fetched it down inside here and got it in the hole. And once the bolt's in the hole, you just kind of pull the magnet to the side. I did that for all of them. You can reach this back bolt. It's right above the up pipe. Everything's still loose though, so now we're gonna start snugging everything up, make sure it's all situated the right way, and then we'll go connect the oil line, get this sensor in, the boot for the intercooler, the mouthpiece, the belt, and then prime it again. We'll make sure oil is flowing through it this time. Everything will go extra detail, and we'll start it up. Alright, so to install the driver's side bolts, because they're kind of a pain with all the fuel lines, I used a 12-inch extension and the 12mm 12-point socket and a swivel, and kind of come from underneath the truck, and it makes it, and the flex head ratchet of course, but I'm trying to hold this steady. This is how I tighten them all up. You can do the passenger side pretty easily, but after we get these all... Alrighty guys, I am very quickly running out of daylight, so kind of had to skip ahead. I know I was supposed to be very informative about this, but doing the best I can. He needs the truck back. We have all the... I don't even know if you're going to be able to see. Nope, definitely not. Hold on. Let me grab a light. So we have the down pipe in, up pipe bolts tightened, clamp on. I have to put the transmission dipstick on, put the intake on, the last sensor. That sensor's done and plugged in, both main wiring harness, intake, whole thing. AC compressor, we just have to put the belt on, and then basically that is it. Then we'll check the oil line. I'm gonna crank it over. I'm gonna leave it loose a little bit, see some oil come out, tighten it up, crank it some more, get oil pressure in it, and then fire this thing up and let it idle for 20 minutes for the break-in. So that is what I'm doing right now. Sorry, I kind of had to rush the end of this. Sun went down kind of fast, so running out of time, but we're almost done. Again, we're gonna jump the relay like we showed you. Actually, I guess we didn't show them.
Right,
we're gonna show you how to jump the relay, so that way you can crank the motor over without starting it. That way you can get, it was I think top right and bottom left.
It's 87 and 30.
Yeah, that's right. Here, let me hold it. I have boogers on my hand, but. So we're jumping the starter relay to get power to the starter with nothing else on, that way it won't start.
The key isn't even in it.
Yep, and we're gonna check a few things over, so.
We'll do like 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And then wait.
And then we'll do another 20 second.
Yeah.
Just let the starter cool off. Kind of take one last look at everything. Belts on. Looks like everything is intact where it needs to be. Nothing's loose. Looking for leaks. So far, nothing. I want to do it again. So now this thing should have significant oil pressure already. So we will get in, start the truck,
20 minutes.
Let it idle for 20 minutes. You want to do the honors this time? Just set it on stage 1 and then let it idle. Yeah, just make sure you have oil pressure. Alright. There it is. Turbo is in. We're gonna let it idle. We're gonna let it idle, check everything over for leaks, and then let it idle for 20 minutes. That's gonna do it, guys. Sorry I had to rush the end a little bit. As always, thank you guys for tuning in. Please subscribe, and we'll catch you later with more Duramax stuff in the future. I'm out.